Good afternoon, folks. I'm the voice of dog, and as part of my marathon that I'm doing today, I'm going to be reading off a top 100 list of my favorite games. I've been putting this together for the last week and a half. It's taken a lot of effort to think of 100 games and then put them in a discernible order, but I think it'll be fun. Just talking about the things that I like. No donation incentives here. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy. If you want to throw me some money, feel free to do so. That's all there is to it. With me is iCat. Hello.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. I've got a script. Hello and welcome to the Voice of Dog's Top 100 Games list. I'm the Voice of Dog. Right, been working nonstop on this thing. I hope you enjoy this self-indulgent look at 100 games I think you should play. Please remember, this list is entirely subjective. The order can be a bit wonky at times. I tried to avoid multiple games from the same series to encourage more variety. So, with that, let's get to our first game. It is shambling in at number 100. It's House of the Dead 2. Let me start the soundtrack here, because I've got music for everything, and I've synced it all up.
Ooh.
It's the year 1998, or 1999, and you're in the arcade when you notice your favorite gun game has gotten a huge sequel. I love the original. I've played it to death. I love playing it with either one gun or two guns if I'm feeling saucy. But I feel like the sequel was a big step up in terms of design and difficulty. Maybe a little too much difficulty, but still fun. The bosses were bigger, there were more types of enemies, there were more branches and level routing you could find. It was a neat upgrade. And instead of a mansion, this one takes place in some old European-looking city. I put millions of quarters into this game. I still do when I get the chance. But if you were lucky, you would find one of those huge cabinets on the right. Those were the best. This is the one the Typing of the Dead is based on, yeah.
Did you play any of the ports?
No, I didn't. I don't know if I ever played Typing of the Dead. I think I should look that up. Is that on Steam?
Probably, actually. I think House of the Dead 2 is even on Steam.
It probably is, yeah. I mean, it's a classic a game. It should be. Let's see. How do I sync this up?
It is not.
Nostalgically signing on to the computer lab at number 99 is Logical Journey of the Zombinis. Elementary school was a pretty fun time for me, because edutainment games were actually pretty fun back then. We had games like The Island of Dr. Quandary, The Incredible Machine, and this, The Logical Journey of the Zombinis. If you're not familiar, the Zombinis are a diverse group of little guys. Just look at them. Your job is to deliver them safely through each level centered around a type of math or logic puzzle, all very colorful and well illustrated. Make too many mistakes and you'll leave Zombinis behind, reducing your total saved. The more Zombinis you get to the end, the bigger city you grow. The cool thing about this game is how well the difficulty scales up. There were like 5 or 6 difficulty levels and a variation of each level for each difficulty, giving you a lot of replay value as you get better at each puzzle. Zombinis is on Steam. Yeah, you can still play this game.
Does that say set theory on the box? Does that say graphing? What the fuck are they making you do in this game?
A lot. They make you do a lot of different things. The logic puzzles apply to a bunch of different mathematical concepts.
It was on GDQ yesterday.
Yep. I have seen the very, very hard levels. They're interesting. You know, they're still hard. Next up. Wait, no.
98 apparently was a fake. It's not actually Worms of Armageddon.
Number 98 is Worms Armageddon by Team 17. Man, I just fucking love this game. I first saw it on a YouTube video with Slow Beef and some other something awful people. Sorry, I'm messing around with my playlist here. It just looked really fun to play, so I had to get into it. There's a definite learning curve. Some weapons are absolutely better than others. It's part of the learning experience of this game, but it is a great game to play with a group of friends and maybe a beer or two. You have the ability to make your own maps, and it's made pretty simple by just having, like... I think black turns into completely transparent, so if you know that, you can make your own map. And yeah, there's the board game. I put a image of the board game on the right. That's from one of my videos where we tried to play board game. and somehow somebody blasted themselves out of board game, killing themselves, meaning the 3-hour game was void. It's like you're playing Monopoly and the board spontaneously combusts.
That truly is a commentary on capitalism.
Yes, it is. Many other games by Team 17 have tried to recapture the feel of Armageddon, and they've mostly failed. But Worms WMD came pretty close by adding some fun vehicles to the mix. I think that is the best effort they've made since then. I think they did a re-release of Worms Armageddon too, right?
Maybe?
I think there was some kind of re-release that Smite was playing for a time, and I was like, shit, I want to get in on that. And I didn't end up capitalizing on it.
There's so many Worms games that... No, Worms Armageddon is on Steam.
Worms Armageddon's totally on Steam, yeah. They patched it for modern machines. Yeah, that was absolutely like important, otherwise it wouldn't run too well, and you couldn't really set up multiplayer.
Apparently you can also buy every Worms game for $20.
That's not a bad deal, but unfortunately a lot of those games aren't great. I tried to play the 3D Worms. Yeah, I can't remember what it was called. Worms Ultimate Mayhem, I think? We played a bit of that, and I did get some good laughs out of it, but it didn't have staying power, you know? Not like the other games did. Not like Armageddon or WMD did. Okay, let's see if I press the right buttons here. Colored in at number 97 is The Void by Ice Pick Lodge, a Russian developer famous for Pathologic. In this game, you wander a desolate world looking for color, which is the only food available. Different colors do different things, and you process color from one resource into another that you can plant or throw at enemies. By cultivating color, you become stronger and can eventually take on the Brothers, who are a group of horrific creatures that lay claim to everything left in the world. The goal of the game is to get enough color in your body to ascend to a higher plane of being, to be reborn in a richer, better world. It's extremely difficult. I've only beaten it once, but if you want a surreal, strange, and unsettling experience, you should give The Void a try.
Ice Pick Lodge just cannot be normal.
Cannot be normal. Cannot do it, and I love them for it.
That box art is great, though.
That's a really good box art. It's literally like you reaching enlightenment at the end and your body is exploding with color. It's real cool. I didn't mention the sisters too. So, this game also feels like a weird dating sim at times. Because it's it's like there are the sisters who you see one of them there. She is just lying in that boat. All of the sisters are like starving to death, and they maintain the realms that they're in. And you need to give them color so they can, like, eat and survive. But the brothers are like, hey, don't do that. They're ours. Stop that. So you end up in a conflict with them. You at first they welcome you as one of them, which is cool because, you know, there's like, they're starting to argue over whether or not you're one of them or if you're cultivating color, the worst sin imaginable. So there's some there's some cool lore here that I like. And, you need to bide your time and wait to betray the brothers.
Have you ever read the Lovecraft story, Color Out of Space?
No. What is that?
It's basically like a meteorite lands on this family's like yard.
Uh-huh.
And it starts turning their like entire yard into this weird mishmash of colors.
Okay.
Yeah, it just kind of reminds me of that, like conceptually.
Interesting.
It's also a movie with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, Noivy Disc published The Void? I'm sorry. Thank you for patching in my... I couldn't find a publisher on Wikipedia. But yeah, super interesting game. Very pretty, very dark and depressing, but like, the entire game is like you're struggling to survive in this desolate world, and they do a good job of it. It's a weird place, but it ends up being really pretty when you start planting color. It's cool. Very unique. Never played anything like it in my life. Next up. Stepping in at number 96 is Dance Dance Revolution! The game that has cumulatively burned the most calories for me over time, even though I haven't really played it since college. When I was in high school, I worked at a laser tag place with an ice cream parlor and arcade, and of course the DDR Extreme machine was front and center. I played it after every shift, trying to double A as many songs as I could. It was a great social game, too. It was always fun to go to a new arcade and see who was playing, how good everyone was. It's tied into a lot of my better memories from high school and college days where you could actually meet other people with similar interests in public places. We can't do that much anymore. So many memories of playing DDR Max on the PS2 with the standard trash bag pads, upgrading to Red Octane over time, starting the official DDR club in college. I have a lot of nostalgia for this game. No other game has gotten me to move or jump around more.
Did you say the DDR club?
Yeah, I started the DDR club at Ithaca College.
Huh.
We had like a dozen, like 1 or 2 dozen members maybe, and we'd get like a dozen or so people to show up. We would take our Red Octane pads and we would set them up on the gigantic lecture hall screen. So yeah, it was fun. It was hard to play on, but it was fun, and everyone really liked it. We were playing Stepmania too. So we had every DDR song ever.
What was the lag on that thing?
It was acceptable. You can adjust that. You can adjust that with in Stepmania.
Oh, interesting. Never knew that.
You also used to work at a laser tag place. It was called Actual Reality. That's fun. That's a funny name, actually. I was witness to no fewer than 3 seizures. Yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. You have to thank Pikachu for saving a bunch of...
right? Pikachu really had people's best interests at heart, didn't they?
Yeah, he gave a bunch of kids seizure to prevent everyone else in the world to not get seizures anymore.
Oh shit, Jeff a Ghost. My brother was an Ithaca kid and was probably in that club. What year were you? He would have been out of there at 2005 at the latest. Shit, I was just getting in there at 2005. I was starting that at 2005, so he might have been there. It was called DDRIC, Dance Dance Revolution Ithaca College. Talk is cheap, shut up and dance. It was a good time. Liked it a lot. Full disclosure, I have only passed max 300 once with the bar. I was so tired afterwards, I told myself I would never do it again. If I know a John or a Nate who does speech pathology, that would have been him. Shit. My memory's kind of fuzzy from back then, but I'm willing to bet that they were in the club at that time.
Yeah. And you were nearly passing out from DDR.
Yep. Good memories. A lot of good memories. Summoned into position 95 is Wadjet Eye's supernatural investigation point-and-click Unavowed. You play a male or female protagonist who is sorting out their life upon waking up after an entire year of being possessed by an ambitious demon, and they have been busy. Joining up with a secret society of supernatural investigators, including a half-djinn and a fire mage, you gradually piece together the events that occurred over the last year, identifying the various incidents you've been causing, little by little, figuring out the demon's master plan. It's a point-and-click with a party system where puzzles often have multiple solutions and the characters you take have skills to help you solve certain situations. It also takes place in New York City, and each investigation is in a different part of the city. The accents for each district are on point. The Brooklyn one tackles the local art scene in a really interesting way. It's just very well done. It was made... You could tell it's a real love letter to the city itself. The characters are well done, very interesting. It honestly feels like a Mass Effect game if it were a point-and-click. The way you put together a squad of 3 and learn their backstories over the course of the game. One of my favorite point-and-clicks, and pretty accessible for a genre that often has problems. I would recommend it to fans in New York and the Supernatural. It's a Wadjet Eye game. You know it's going to be fun.
So, full disclosure, never played a Wadjet Eye game.
Cool. If you like point-and-click... Well, do you like point-and-clicks?
Yeah.
Okay, well then you probably... It's, the hard thing is deciding which one to do first. Because there's so many. Taco Salad only played Resonance. Resonance is one of my favorites. It might be on this list somewhere. But Unavowed is definitely a high point for me in their catalog. If you want the Dresden Files point-and-click, that's what that is. If you want the... well, we'll get to Resonance at some point, but... there's like the Ghost Story franchise that is Blackwell Legacy. There's the cyberpunk one that is what was the name of the cyberpunk one? Oh god, the one where you're on the internet. Primordia is the one with Logan Cunningham, who is a robot, and there's no humans, and they worship humans. Techno Babylon. Techno Babylon is the cyberpunk one.
I do love me Liam Cunningham.
Yeah, Logan is the main character in that game. He does a very good job. Oh yeah, Someone Cho is in Techno Babylon. Oh shit, I went to Killing Harmony. Hey, guess what? Accused of being number 94 is Danganronpa V3 Killing Harmony. I have a real love-hate relationship with this series. At its best, it's a fun murder mystery series with interesting character writing. At its worst, it's offensive and completely tone-deaf with absolutely no business talking about the topics it's trying to focus on. Somewhere in the middle of all that is V3, which I found to be the strongest of the series. Throwing aside the classic struggle between hope and despair, even though it's kind of there on the fringes, V3 does the impossible, and it concludes this train wreck of a series in a way that doesn't completely infuriate me. I was legit impressed with some of the twists at the end. I felt satisfied in a way I wasn't expecting. It's still weird and raunchy as hell, but if you made it this far in the franchise, you kind of know what to expect.
V3, the ballsiest game ever made.
It's pretty ballsy. I
other game.
fucking love Kokichi. Kokichi is so fucking good.
So we've been playing this in the background, not streaming it at all. And,
yeah, we've been making Raucus play this, and we just finished the second case when his PS4 died.
Mm-hmm. It's still amazing.
Yeah, it's still pretty good. I'm seeing it for the second time, and I'm like, yeah, no, the problems that I like have with this game I still have, but it is definitely getting closer and closer to the ideal murder mystery spectacle death game bullshit that I'm looking for.
I still think 2 is the more cohesive whole, but the 3 is the sheer ballsiness.
Yeah, I think I'm more into the sheer ballsiness than the complete, despair versus hope argument. Because I never found that incredibly cogent, and I don't think I processed it really all that well. I think I get lost in all the man, they really need a script editor. Another one.
That's every visual novel.
That's every visual novel in existence. But yeah, they definitely need a script editor. Yeah, if you're interested, you could watch a long play of these games. You will see what is wrong with them. You will see what is right with them. Next up. Peak Oil Turn 1 at number 93 is Fate of the World, the global warming simulation game. In this very intricate sim of our rapidly dying planet, you attempt to balance the Earth's total emissions to keep the global temperature below 3 degrees of pre-industrial change. In order to do that, you need to assign agents to various regions of the world to establish programs, either in welfare, political control, energy policies, and tech development. There are a lot of variables at play in this game, and balancing them all feels fun, but kind of impossible at the end of the day. It is truly difficult to raise the Human Development Index once you've hit peak oil, and nuclear war is broken out in 3 continents. Despite that, I still feel the urge to whip this game out now and again. It's a good reminder that I should not be president of the world. This is such a funny-ass game. There's a mod on, I believe it was Scruffapone that actually was the one who told me about the mod. It basically tells you what cards do way more, which, holy shit, that was needed in this game. So if you look at the Steam Workshop, you might find something worth looking at, or Google, mods for this game.
Yeah, I have never played this game myself, but I do have played its descendants, your Frostpunks, your Surviving Mars.
Yeah. Alright. Falling in at number 92 is Wario's Woods for the NES. Also on the SNES, this is one of those puzzle games where you play a character trapped in the play area. You get colored monsters and colored bombs, and you clear things by carrying, lifting, catching, stacking, and matching the bombs to the monsters. Take too long, and Wario appears to ruin your day. This is a great little low-key puzzle game that I like to play now and again, and the 2-player head-to-head is pretty fun as well. How much of this did we play at MagFest?
Quite a bit.
Yeah, we just walked past something in the console zone, and there was a Wario's Wood set up, and I was like, "Fuck, I'm sitting down. I'm playing that right now." It was like 3 a.m. I'm like, I'm playing it.
Yeah, we were there for a good hour. It was like 4 when we left.
Mm-hmm. The SNES version is more built for versus mode. Noted. I will have to check that out. I just like the sound of the original NES. I guess I'm biased. What can I say?
Did we not play the SNES one?
No, we didn't. We played the NES one. That's why I sat down. I think because I was like, shit, nostalgia.
Hmm.
The problem with making a top 100 is that I often replay games, and my autism makes me hyper-focused on specific games and series. Same. So that's why this was hard. I did it, though. I did it because I had this impulse to do it.
Exactly. Now, I assume this doesn't, like, fall under, like, Wario as an entire
no
series.
I will say series when I am pulling an asshole move and considering a bunch of games for the same series.
Mm.
But I won't be doing that till later. Next up. Starting a new job at number 91 is Knuckle Sandwich, a game that I was very hyped for over the last few years, till it came out last November. At launch, it had some issues. The inventory was stupidly small, and the damage numbers felt a little low. But these got adjusted over the last 7 or 8 months. The experience feels a lot better overall now. The story is all over the place. It follows a silent protagonist who moves to Bright City to look for a new job and ends up getting involved in some pretty wild stuff. Cannibalism, supernatural entities, parallel worlds, gangs, cults. Just some of the things you run into. The pacing is pretty fast and loose, and you really feel like you're flying by the seat of your pants, but the story does manage to stick the landing at the very end, in my opinion. It's not entirely clear to me why I have a minor fixation on this game. I think it might be because it has the most personally relatable silent protagonist I have ever seen in a game. In both 3D and 2D, just looks so done with it all. I really feel that.
Yeah, I was actually surprised it showed up in 91.
It's relatively new, and I think it's like a game that won't appeal to everybody because of just how unusual it is. It's weird even by its own standards. Like, it doesn't have... I heard people complain about the pacing of it, and I can totally agree with that. You really just go from one thing to the other until they open things up a little bit.
Mm-hmm. From what I've seen you talk about this, I can see this like percolating up to higher, like given more time.
Yeah, I think so. I've played it twice already, and I love it. And I'm making Raucus play through it right now, and he's enjoying it. But I wish more people had given this a chance. I think the hype really carried it like years ago, but it took too long to come out. My God, what a fun soundtrack. Maybe my favorite soundtrack of last year. I listen to it almost every day.
I'm surprised it had so many composers and still seemed cohesive.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny that you mentioned Yick, because like when I was first starting to play this game, I was like, this feels like Yick if it were a lot more successful in what we're trying to do. It's, it's a modern, maybe it's postmodern? I don't know what that fucking means, and I don't care. So I couldn't answer that question. This is the better Yick. It might be.
Knuckle Sandwich, the better Yick. Put that on the box.
Don't put that on the box. Hell truly is having the weight on other people. I love the mini games that don't matter in this game, like the one, like the burger flipping mini game down at the bottom left. There's a lot of effort put into them to make you feel like you're overwhelmed, and there's no way to do anything right because that's food service. Postmodern just means after World War II, so okay. The dancing one's cool, yeah, it is. The wide variety of mini games are very funny, and they put a ton of effort into this game.
Yeah. Also, just the sheer number of art styles between mini games, like you see from the left 2 images. Like, look at that.
Yeah, there's a lot of different art styles going on, and they work. They work together. Somehow the 5 different composers managed to make something that all blends together and feels like it has its own cohesive identity. That's hard to do. Not a lot of games can do that. Anyway, I'm done gushing about Knuckle Sandwich. Let's move on. Discovered at number 90 is the remake of the MSX-inspired La-Mulana. You like Metroidvanias? You like puzzles? Hi, cat.
Yeah.
You like dying over and over again? You will love La-Mulana's sadistic puzzle skill ceiling and tight platforming challenges. You guide intrepid explorer Lameza Kasugi as he investigates the traces of humanity's origins. It's a harsh place to investigate, and you can't even read the script on the tablets at first. But as you explore, you find new clues, new items, new monsters to hunt. Every piece of information brings you closer to understanding how the ruins are connected and how you need to solve them. I like the original love letter to the MSX game, but the remake has a lot of sensible modern design choices, which is why I would recommend it over the original.
Yeah, I definitely need to get around to it.
It's too obtuse for some people, and that's fine, but it's so stupid.
I do love me really obtuse puzzles. Known liker of Fez.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you played the sequel at all?
No, I haven't. I'm thinking about doing it at some point. I've heard detailed critiques from Wandering Newbie, who has gone in deep on it. And it sounds like combat's a lot harder in that game. So that's kind of it's a little bit of a downgrade, but I'm still interested. I think I would really embarrass myself if I streamed it, and I would look really dumb. So I'm a little hesitant to do that, but anything for money. Hey. Whispering in Your Ear is number 89. Puzzle Agent. A game that takes place in the Grickle universe, also Scoggins, Minnesota. Puzzle Agent is kind of a spoof on Professor Layton, where you solve puzzles in a mysterious village in an attempt to solve the big overarching mystery. Now, for a quote-unquote Layton game, the puzzles might be the weakest part of the whole production. However, the story, the soundtrack, the art are all very engrossing, reminiscent of mystery thrillers like Twin Peaks and Fargo. You play Agent Nelson Tethers of the FBI's Puzzle Research Division. Your mission: to go to the Scoggins, Minnesota eraser factory and investigate the incident that occurred there. I didn't read that sentence right. It's a goofy kickoff for a rather sinister plot that gets creepier the more you get into it, and it culminates in such a big cliffhanger that they needed a second game to explain it all. Both games are highly entertaining. I really like Nelson Tethers' journey through Scoggins. They managed to capture the feeling of a small, isolated town where everyone knows each other's secrets, and it gives tension to every single interaction you have in the game. Tone-wise, this game is a 10 out of 10. I wish we could see more from Nelson Tethers.
Yeah, I've only ever experienced this game from a streamer, so well deserved to give my money to maybe not Telltale Games, but give my money for Puzzle Agent.
Yeah, I would say Puzzle Agent and Puzzle Agent 2 are worth playing if you like this genre of DS game that existed back then. Because it does that very well, even though the puzzles can be a little weird or not great. The story is so funny, though. I love it. It's so fucked up.
An even more comedic Twin Peaks is...
Yeah, it's a way more comedic... It's a very tongue-in-cheek Twin Peaks. Next up. Morphin' in at number 88 is Chroma Squad, which I am legally obligated to inform you is inspired by Saban's Power Rangers. A turn-based strategy game with an emphasis on teamwork. Chroma Squad tells the story of 5 friends who break off from their dead-end stunt actor jobs to write their own Sentai show. You choose the actors from a list and assign them into roles for each ranger. There's also a lot of weapon and armor customization / crafting, since your prop department will be making all the outfits. You collect and purchase scrap materials to turn into show costumes, which raise your stats. And the DIY theme of the process makes it pretty fun. You can also set up ad campaigns to get more fans and revenue, upgrade your studio to get bonuses in battle, and craft a giant robot to fight kaiju battles. Over time, the plot shifts from shooting a Sentai show to actually becoming a Sentai team, which is a neat twist as the stakes of the plot ramp up. One thing I have to say about this game, it's very earnest. It comes from a place of genuine love for the genre. It is real unfortunate that the developers had some legal trouble with Saban, who to me seemed like they were just looking to litigate and bully a small dev team. But the game is still available. It's improved greatly since launch, with some branching story paths near the end that encourage multiple playthroughs. Highly recommended for all grid-based strategy freaks.
I have never heard of this, and I like me a tokusatsu.
I think it's just a a solid strategy game. Did I get something wrong about the info there?
That would be a question for chat, I guess.
Yeah. Well, what I could, most Wikipedia was mostly my my source because I didn't have time to do research on every single game. So this is pretty fast and loose research here.
I am interested to see what Saban really had, what their grounds were.
Mm-hmm. Saban and Harmony Gold are both like that. I say. But it's such a fucked up thing to do because it's not like Saban it's not like Power Rangers are the Sentai thing. Sentai has a long, rich tradition in Japan before we even got wind of it, right?
Yeah, Sentai has been around since the 60s.
Yeah, with God, what was that show called? Jet Force? I think that might have been the first one.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Gorenger. Started in Gorenger in 1975.
Mm-hmm. All right. Capitalism Ho! Cornering the market at number 87 is Recettear, the game where you run an item shop in an attempt to pay off your copious amounts of debt. This game should hit too close to home for me to enjoy it so much, but I can't help it. Recettear is a very addictive experience that I fall into every few years. The cool thing is that you set the price of each item at the point of sale, which means you customize the price for every customer, attempting to hit their invisible sweet spot of savings. Doing so enough times will make customers like your shop more, and they'll be willing to spend more as well, so the price guessing is really the main gameplay loop of the game. There's a cast of tropey anime characters that are sufficiently charming, and there's a bit of optional dungeon crawling as well, if that seems appealing to you. It's probably the weakest part of the game, but not required unless you're going for completion. Overall, very addictive.
Capitalism. Oh!
Capitalism ho. I don't know why I put that GIF there. It's like the only GIF I could find of the game. Oh god. Oh god.
So, I played this game, years ago, but, I still listen to, I think it's the shop close theme.
Mm-hmm.
It's just stuck in my head permanently.
Yeah.
I could be going about my day and it will play in my head.
I put this on sound test for for Arcade Fit, and it got in backwards, and everyone got it. Everyone was like, that's Recettear. Everyone fucking knew it was the Recettear shop song. It was really funny.
It just worms your way into your soul.
It was the whistles. Everyone picked out the whistle and was like, that's Recettear, come on. Don't fucking mess with me. Painting it at number 86 is Cuphead, the run-and-gun shooter inspired by early cartoons from the 20s and 30s. It doesn't take much to get me or anyone else to say that this game looks and sounds like $1 million. The aesthetic is so on point, and the big band soundtrack is amazing. I still listen to it to this day. One of my favorite things about Cuphead is that it's mostly huge boss fights with multiple phases and huge detailed characters. It definitely feels like an all-killer, no-filler type of experience, like Alien Soldier. I haven't played the DLC campaign, so I can't really speak on that, but the base game is just amazing.
Here's a real high-class bout.
This match will get red hot. This soundtrack got me through a lot of rough work days. I had parts of my job when I was working in Denver where I was just doing data entry for 8 hours at a time. And that wasn't my normal job, but that was something I got assigned to do. And I would just run through the Cuphead soundtrack over and over again.
Yeah, I think I listened to Flora Panic or whatever.
Floral Fury, yeah.
Yeah.
That was the other one that I was going to put in, if not this song. Because I think the song that plays when you're fighting, when you're doing the gauntlet at the end is my favorite. But yeah, wonderful. I would like to see more games from them. I know they're doing, other stuff, but if they want to make another game, I'd be so down for that.
Actually, I have a mutual friend with the developers of this game.
Oh yeah, cool.
Yeah.
The Moiterhander brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah. MDHR. Yeah.
This was years ago, though. I haven't talked to that person in a while.
That's fair. tattooed in at number 85 is Castlevania Order of Ecclesia, the third and final of the DS Vanias. Ecclesia follows Shanoa, an acolyte in training that uses a big tattoo on her back to absorb glyphs and learn new powers. This is the main mechanic of the game. You can place weapon glyphs on each hand and a third one for support. As you fight more monsters, you'll have opportunities to absorb more powers and become stronger. The plot involves Shanoa trying to rescue the inhabitants of a local village while tracking down her brother, who has stolen valuable glyphs related to Dracula's powers. Ecclesia is just a really well-executed Castlevania game. The weapons are diverse, very fun to play with. You can mix and match things and make some cool combinations, and as always, there are tons of side quests to help you get stronger. Yeah, I put the it's a bad GIF because it's terrible frame rate, but I fucking love the crab finishing off the crab boss. You drop an elevator on it, and Shanoa's like, "Go to hell."
Yeah, I haven't played this one. I played Dawn of Sorrow.
Dawn of Sorrow's good. Like, all the DS ones are good. It's just like, which one's your favorite?
Yeah, like Aria of Sorrow is probably my favorite in Castlevania overall. I do like me a Soma.
Yeah. She doesn't need to be a Belmont. She's got a cool tattoo. At number 84 is a little obscure RPG called Lennus, or Paladin's Quest. As a spiritualist in training, main character Chesney takes a dare to investigate an ancient tower and ends up unleashing a great monster that threatens to destroy the world. A neat thing about this turn-based RPG is that 2 of your 4 character slots are revolving doors, where you're often finding new mercenaries to hire and try out. This keeps things fresh and interesting. The game's pretty simple for the time, nothing to really write home about, but the environments and character design are kind of neat, some real weird fantasy races in this game. I have a lot of nostalgia for the soundtrack though. I rented this game once as a child, and the synthesized orchestra stuck in my head for years until I could remember the name of that damn game. Overall, it's a primitive but fun RPG that's worth looking at, with an even better sequel if you can find a translated ROM.
Yeah, I remember hearing the sequel is Japan only.
It is, but there is a translation that you can find. I've played it. At first, this game, the sequel was pretty hard to emulate because it had some weird sprite layering stuff. Was Fiery the party member that refuses to leave your party once she's in there? Because she's the worst. Oh no, Mean Ma. That's Mean Ma. I remember now.
So you said you liked the second one more than this one?
No, this is the one I have the nostalgia for.
Ah, okay.
I think the second game is probably better to play, but, you know, it hasn't been translated.
Yeah, that's fair. Part of me gets into that if you put something like Mother 3, and I'm like, I feel like I got everything I need from Mother 3.
Yeah.
Yeah. Never played this. I think I'll put it on the list for sure.
Yeah, it's a decent length. It's not too long, but you can always use Turbo because you'll be using an emulator. You also spend HP to cast spells in this game. You don't have MP. There's no such thing as MP in this game. So there's no healing spells.
Oh.
It's interesting. They managed to work around it. Weird game. Forming up at number 83 is WarioWare Smooth Moves, the Wii WarioWare game that gets you moving in a bunch of different goofy ways. Classic WarioWare rules apply. Play fast-paced micro games and follow the prompts. Win a game and move on. Lose a game and lose a life. The twist in this Wii edition comes from how you hold the Wii remote for each game. You're basically told to use one of 15 different forms or ways to hold the Wiimote before each minigame starts. It's a rush to get your remote in the right position, process what you need to do, and do it in a matter of seconds. Excellent visual design and a fun cast of recurring characters makes this my favorite Wario game of all time. A lot of good memories playing drinking games with this in college.
Yeah, it's a hell of a party game.
This is such a peak Wii game. The thing I would do is like, all right, you got like 3 or 4 people, line them all up in front of the TV. First person gets the remote. If they win, nothing happens. If they lose, drink, pass the remote. Go. If you lose the last life, drink twice. Previous. Spoilers. 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 Spoilers.
God, I wonder what 82 is going to be.
Could be anything.
Yeah,
I love the lift. The lift gif is so funny.
Hopefully that's the Switch one that's coming out soon is good.
Didn't that come out already?
Did it come out?
Yeah, isn't it like everyone get together or something like that?
I think so, yeah. I didn't realize it was out.
I think Ty played it and said it was pretty good. It's not what you're expecting from WarioWare. It's a little different. But he said it was pretty alright.
Oh yeah, it came out last year.
Streaming all the way to number 82 is Mario and Rabbids Kingdom Battle, a game that we were really confused about at the start, because it seemed like a real dumb crossover. And developed by Ubisoft, whom we tend to have very little faith in. I was pretty skeptical. But then I played it. I found that it condenses a lot of the cruft of new XCOM games into a more fun, more compact product that is way more colorful and interesting than expected. The new Rabbit characters are actually really fun, and the strategy is more solid than it ever was in Newcom. And they gave Luigi a sniper rifle! I can't recommend this enough if you like grid-based strategy games. It's a real achievement. Grant Kirkhope does the soundtrack. Peach is a shotgun.
If only it sold more.
Yeah, well, no, it sold well enough that they made a sequel to it. That was also good.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess the sequel didn't sell well.
I guess the sequel didn't sell well enough. The sequel was fine. I thought it was a little easier, is the thing. Like, this game was tough, you know? Like, this game was appropriately tough, I thought. The second game, they give you a lot of powers. And they make the game a little easier as you figure out how to break the game.
As you would want from an XCOM.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought it was good. It was well done. The DLC campaign is you play as DK. DK gets into and then you get Rabbid Peach, DK, and Rabbid Cranky Kong, I think. Yeah, Mario Com is a really fun time. I like it a lot. I hope Ubisoft somehow gets money to do more of that. I don't like Ubisoft. This is the only thing I'll play from them. Ever. No more Assassin's Creed from me. You're not getting that out of me again. I played one, that's it.
Anyways, next entry is Assassin's Creed.
Next entry is Assassin's Creed 2, the only Assassin's Creed I played. Number 81. Shaking things up at number 81 is Mischief Makers for the N64, a quirky, offbeat action platformer from Treasure. You play Marina Lightyears, a robot or cyborg, trying to save her creator, Professor Theo, who has a knack for getting kidnapped. Marina's moveset is pretty simple, but there's so much you can do with it. You grab things, shake things, throw things at other things. There's a lot you can do. You get a sadistic sense of satisfaction from throwing friendly and unfriendly NPCs around, and you kind of get the sense that Marina was not programmed with any concept of ethics. The story is weird and wacky, and the bosses are huge and colorful, and there's a wide variety of gimmick stages and challenges, and the overall game is pretty short and sweet. Oh, definite weird favorite of mine on the N64.
Shake, shake. Shake, shake.
Shake, shake. The bosses are so fun in this game for the most part. Like, but you have to no-hit them to get the best ending.
It's
tough.
Definitely, yeah, it's tough. Now, if only the N64 would emulate well. Maybe,
well,
who knows?
This game emulates like 80% right. And I have streamed it before, like twice, actually. Once with Ty, once by myself. Yeah, just really fun game. Really weird game. They were definitely experimenting with shit back then.
Yeah, which is what you want from a Treasure game. Treasure games are always weird.
Yeah. Found guilty of number 80 is French revolutionary law simulator Aviary Attorney. This is a sort of found footage visual novel where the art style is cribbed from J.J. Granville's famous illustrations of humanoid animals. The story is a satirical retelling of one of the French revolutions from the point of view of J.J. Falcon, a burned-out drunkard and public defender who has become disillusioned with the law. Straight up, this game is very funny. It's just delightful to read through. The style of investigation is a good deal more thoughtful and engaging than, say, Phoenix Wright's investigations. In an Aviary Attorney, you are not required to win any trial to advance. You can have your clients declared guilty, and the story will continue. In fact, there are 3 very distinct endings depending on how you handle the final case. You have limited time to investigate each case and gather as much evidence as possible before the trial, meaning you can end up without key pieces of evidence if you aren't thorough enough. I really like this take on the law simulator mystery genre. It puts a lot more responsibility on the player to pay attention and figure out the mystery. And I think that could be fun. Highly recommended game that doesn't get enough attention.
Yeah, when the people were recommending this game, someone was like, "Oh, I don't think it works well as an Ace Attorney style game," so I never did ended up picking up. Yeah.
Fucking false. They are wrong. This game is a love letter to Ace Attorney, but it also gives you agency that you never thought you would have in Ace Attorney. What if you do lose all faith in the law and decide to become a fucking murderer? What if? You gotta answer those questions.
You as the bird lawyer.
Yeah. No, not me. In Minecraft. I like this game a lot. Daria Nogani wrote this game and then released Small Saga, another very interesting game with animal people. It's a furry game. I'm just gonna say it. The funny thing is that, like, this is all found footage, right? So this is all caricatures from, like, from the 1800s, which is really funny to me.
I guess, if you go on to make this then Small Saga, you're not breeding the furry alligator.
You're not, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Speaking of which, coming back home from college is number 79, Night in the Woods. I think one of my favorite genres of game is one that tries to tackle the existential nightmare that is being alive. Night in the Woods attempts that from the perspective of a college burnout named May, who is returning home to her tiny Rust Belt town after dropping out. It doesn't take long for intrusive thoughts to win out, and May has a public meltdown at a party. In the autumn that follows, May attempts to claw back some sense of self and stability in a world that is becoming increasingly hostile and unfamiliar to her. She will grapple with her past mistakes, question the meaning of her life, and come face to face with the terrifying reality of her own mortality. This game is special to me. Lots of games have existential themes, some are on this list, but few get to me like Night in the Woods did. It asked the right questions about life.
I never finished this.
Some people didn't. Some people couldn't stand May as a character.
What also probably didn't help was that I was also returning home after like 3 years of not going back and just sitting there and playing this game about returning home.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, that'll do it.
Might have also hit a little close to home at the moment.
It is a fucking tragedy that Scott Benson's health is not held up and that he needs to take care of himself. But I wish him the absolute best, and his family and his cats, Sid and Fern.
Yeah.
Sid. Yeah, Sid. Sid lives.
Sid lives.
I love Sid.
If you don't know, Scott Benson has a good thread about his cats.
Yeah, he had a kitten thread, and then it turned into the cat thread. And Sid was going to die because he had this giant polyp in his throat that was suffocating him that they needed to remove. But he's okay now.
Yeah.
He lives. But I'll be playing this game again someday. There's branching stories. You don't get all of it in one go. The overall point of it, I think, is just a very good condensation of existentialism as a whole, where you have to stop fucking thinking about it and realize that the only actual satisfaction you find in life is with other people, not in your own mind.
Fuck the cops.
Also, fuck cops. I was obsessed with it and learned Possum Springs was based on an area close to... Yeah, because it was very much a Rust Belt town. I believe Scott Benson is in the Pittsburgh area, near Smite, which is like prime Rust Belt, Pennsylvania, right?
Right.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, well, it is obviously it didn't have the same experience of growing up in a similar town, so a little bit of that is like, I don't know what the... I don't have the experience there that'll make that really hit home, but I feel like the overall experience of just being alive helps.
Yeah. I thought I grew up in a small town, and then I fucking realized, no, actually, I grew up in a big town. Like, I needed to meet other people and realize what I had and what my circumstances were. Took a while. Just wonderful game. There's not many like it. Next up. Teeing off at number 78 is Kirby's Dream Course for the SNES! My favorite golf game ever! Kirby turns ordinary golf into a fun pick-up-and-play experience that's easy to learn and tough to master. There are 8 courses of 8 holes each, plus a set of 8 rearranged bonus courses. Add in 4 courses for 2-player games and you've got a lot of replay value on your hands. The rules are simple. Hit all but one of the enemies on the course and the final enemy turns into the hole. Sink the Kirby into the hole in as few shots as possible. Along the way, you'll encounter special tiles, enemy powers to steal, and advanced shot techniques like backspin and power bouncing. It all works together pretty seamlessly to make a unique golf experience you don't have anywhere else. It also used to not be a Kirby game. It was called Special Tee Shot, and it didn't have Kirby in it. Which meant it was inferior.
What I've also learned is that apparently you can also get really salty.
Yes, you can get really mad about Kirby Golf. Also known as Doki Doki Panic in Japan.
Doki Doki Golfy.
Yeah. Okay, so that's my first 24 slides. That's my first. For some reason, I split off the first project here. Don't ask me why. Let's take a short little break. How y'all doing? How you like the list? This is pretty fun. I like this.
Yeah.
A good time. Let's take a little short break so I can run to the bathroom and grab a drink, and we'll be right back with more list. I think I'll do the next 25, and then I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, that should be. I'd leave you off at an even 50.
I've only written the script up to like 39, though. So I've still got shit to do. I don't know. Here's the thing, though, and I hate to say this. I don't know if I'm going to be done by tomorrow. But I will try to get as much done as I can. I don't want to rush it, but I don't want to leave it either. You know, I want to do it. I want to get it done. 30-1 just needs to be all like Cheetah Man games that don't exist or something.
Yeah, Cheetah Man 52 on.
The 7th game in the Cheetah Man series was really where it took off. Alright, we'll be right back.
Once again, since we are taking a break, I might as well do the script. We are right now building up money for Voice of Dog to pay off his medical bills and as well as his car bills. We are we are $90 away from 3K. Thank you, everyone. It'll be nice to get to that big 3K number. Obviously, we don't have any donation incentives for when the list is going, but still, you can feel free to donate while that happens. I'm sure Voice of Dog will appreciate it. And yeah, stay tuned for the remainder of the bottom half of the top 50. Hopefully the top games are the ones you'll need to be told to move on from. Yeah, you know, the higher you go on the list, the more you want to talk about your favorite game of all time. I should know. I could talk endlessly about Outer Wilds. One of the greatest games ever made. And by the way, that's only my second favorite game ever. Let's see, Banner Saga isn't this low yet? Well, you'll never know. Who knows? Maybe Banner Saga is next. It would obviously be very funny if it was actually next. What if it's not on the list? That would also be... Well, you'll have to watch the entire list to find out. For 1500, Ike said he's from India. Yeah, well, you know, it's just a weird point I have to reiterate. It just comes up a lot. Yeah, actually, the list goes up to 0. So 0 is just the, you know, the throne. Nothing can beat it. The secret option number 3.
Secret donation, don't tell VOD.
Oh yeah, no, I believe Dog is like made this a separate stream recording, so it should be up on the YouTube channel. Oh, we've reached 3K. Thank you, secret person. We're at an even 60%. Yeah. Obviously, I know it was if I didn't see if there was a name or not. It seems to be an anonymous person, but if you feel free to like put that towards whatever you want in the Lisa incentive. If you want to chime up in chat, but I assume not. Agent. I love that guy. I really like how Dog is only through the first 20 or so games. It's already like, this game is awesome. Yeah, I'm going to assume like 30 onwards, it just gets increasingly difficult to actually put like, to decide what goes above what, you know, because the margins are going to get increasingly slim as to how much you like something. Yeah, I guess it also helps that it's been collated down to just series. So like, boy, if you just dump everything down to like an individual series, I think Final Fantasy would probably top my list just for the sheer number. I have played every mainline entry of Final Fantasy. That's how much I like that series. Well, exception of 11. No. Well, 11 and 16. Yoshi's Cookie at the top 20. Well, never say never. That might actually happen. Yeah, if Lisa is not number one, I'll be really shocked, honestly. But I don't know. Take bets, I guess. Lufia 2 when? Actually, never. Like, Lufia 2 is one of those things I know about, but never actually played or watched any of.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I got very distracted there. My bad.
Yeah. Well, Psychoparanoia, it's not like it's less about like how objectively good something is more than how it speaks to you emotionally.
Yes, it's way more. Are we talking about like how I place things on the list?
Yeah.
Instinct. The best way to list something. Never give up. Trust your instincts. But I did. There was a point where I was like looking back and forth and being like, all right, is this better than that? Is that better than that? Is that better than that? And you know, I did settle on an order eventually. Thank you, Siren, for the $20.
We also had, I think, an anonymous donate 90 to get us over the 3K mark.
Really? Hang on. Oh, wow. Shh, secret donation, don't tell VOD. I know about it! Thank you so much for the anonymous donation. Shh. Let's get back to the list, shall we? Let's open up the 77th to the 50th, 51st best game. That just rolls off the tongue.
Time to break out an absolutely new PowerPoint.
You're not kidding. I'm not. These are all separate PowerPoints.
I like to think. Did you also change up the font and style? That would be very funny if you did.
No, I did not. Thinking about font like calcifies my brain. Because like there's so many choices. Yeah, PowerPoint. Hey! You're not supposed to show everything.
Well.
There we go. What the? Why are you doing that? Stop that. What the fuck? Okay, I think I know what I need to do in order to do that.
Just like you cutting from that to no signal.
Yeah, no, fuck it. There's nothing. I am nuking everything. Whole week down the drain.
Okay, where does cat rank on the list?
Cat's number 0. Cat is the beginning and end of all things. Okay, let's see if this works. If it doesn't grab it, I'm gonna quickly scramble to ungrab it. That'll be my only recourse. Yep, hang on. Close your eyes. Hey, those are my notes. What the fuck are you doing? There we go. There we go.
Truly the
Resident Evil 4.
That might need a side stream, by the way.
Oh yeah, how about that? Yeah. I'll get in the groove again with this. No. Stop it. Why do you go advance when I click? That's the worst feature. You know how much I click?
We all click.
Infecting position number 77 is Resident Evil 4, originally for the GameCube. What is to say about this game other than it's one of the best action games ever? Gunplay is incredibly satisfying. Enemies react to where you shoot them. One of the first games I really saw something like that. This game really breathed some life back into the Resident Evil franchise. That's all I got. It's just a good game, that's it, man.
What do you say about one of the best games of all time that created an entire genre?
Yeah, this was the game back in 2005. And you know what was kind of funny about this? When I first played it, I was like, it was a demo disc at a GameStop or Babbage's or Electronics Boutique, whatever was there at the time in 2005. And I shot a guy in the head and he didn't immediately die. And I was like, well, that's not realistic. For some reason, I had the dumbest reaction to this game. But I was like, you know, it is kind of fun, though.
My brother was like looking up like gameplay trailers and everything and was really excited for when it comes out on PS2.
Mm-hmm.
And for it to live up to all of that hype, that was incredible.
Yeah, it is legit that good of a game. It's very good. Haunting the 76th spot is famous DOS game The Seventh Guest. As one of the first big CD-ROM games, this was a huge seller of CD-ROM drives when they were just getting rolled out. The effects were impressive for the time, with the actors being superimposed into the mansion via blue screen. That's right, this game is so old they weren't even using green screens yet. Anyway, the game tells the story of Henry Stauff, which is an anagram of Faust, hint hint, a murderous drifter who begins having visions in his sleep. The visions tell him to carve wooden dolls and sell them in town, which makes him quite successful. With his new fortune, he builds a spooky mansion to house all his creepy toys and puzzles, and it quickly becomes a local legend. One night, he invites 6 guests to his mansion to stay the night. He intends to have them play a game, where the winner will receive whatever they most desire. Of course, none of the guests or staff were ever seen again. That is, until you, the main character, wake up inside the mansion where the ghosts of the 6 guests roam the halls. You view the events of that night as they occurred and gradually uncover the mystery behind the staff mansion as you explore the rooms, find secret passages, and solve puzzles. I have a lot of nostalgia for it since I played it as a child, and while the tone is very cheesy 90s horror, it still spooked me a bit back then. It's more funny than anything these days, but it's still worth appreciating.
So, I recently heard that one of the puzzles in this game, right? It depends on, I think, your graphics processor or your like CPU processor. I can't remember what, but kind of.
Yeah, that's a fun. Yeah, I could talk about that. So the game Infection, which is the microscope puzzle in the 7th Guest, and the honeycomb puzzle in the 11th Hour, the sequel, both run off of the processing power of the computer to determine how far ahead they're going to play. You know, how many moves they're going to think ahead. It can make things very bad, because if you're using a modern system, guess what? They're playing as you're playing a fucking grandmaster. Just an interesting doomed 90s series, you know? Like I wanted to do a documentary on the 11th Hour because I thought it was this big spectacle of failure. But it's hard to, you know, kind of involve the devs of that when you have that angle. I did get the chance when I did an LP of the 11th Hour. I got to talk to George Sanger, the Fat Man, known as the Fat Man, the composer of both games. And he was pretty upfront with how things were. You know, you had all the executives coming in after the success of the 7th Guest saying, oh man, we're going to make so much money. We're going to just so much. You've sold CD-ROM drives. You've made it a format. We're going to make our next game with 5 CD-ROM discs. And, you know, it was just kind of, it was a big flop. You know, it didn't work out. It was a lot jankier. It was a lot riskier. It was definitely inspired by Twin Peaks, for better or for worse. And it's just a game I was kind of fascinated by. So that was the first game I ever LP'd. But all my nostalgia comes from the 7th Guest and sitting in the dark, you know, with my MS-DOS section of my hard drive. I had to restart the computer in DOS mode to play this game and go to the command prompts. Let's see, CD/ID/T7G. Yeah, that was the command prompt to start it.
So from what I've been to, you know, I've talked to a lot of VFX artists and people who made video games and all that jazz. People just love to talk about something, and if something's bad, they also admit to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's usually
You know the problem with that? The problem with that is that it tore apart Graham Devine and Robin, or no, what was their names? Graham Devine, Rob Landeros and Graham Devine were the two heads of the studio of Trilobite, I think. And it gradually, doing the 11th Hour, they gradually had some creative differences, and it kind of tore them apart over time, and which is unfortunate. You know, it's like I don't want to bring up bad stuff to people who have like buried that, you know? And yeah, one of them went on to make Tender Loving Care, which is its own kind of train wreck. But this series has a weird kind of legacy because they keep trying to strike gold with it. They keep trying to re-release the game. They did the 13th Doll, or some indie team did the 13th Doll. I'm not saying Landeros and Devine were doing that, but somebody else was trying to do something with it. I don't know if it was any good. I know I wasn't that interested in it because, like, you know, I don't have nostalgia for it. They're still doing the cheesy tone, but in the modern day where I've kind of lost the allure for that kind of thing. Then there was a VR version of the 7th Guest that came out, which I obviously didn't do because I don't do VR, but I was kind of interested in how good that looked and what kind of actors they got for that and if it was any good. The original game was good because they used stage actors, you know, because that was the thing back then. Robert Hirschbuck, I think, the guy who played Henry Stoff, he was a famed Shakespeare actor. I think he's deceased now, but If not, then he's quite old at this point. But they both did very good work in oh shit, there's Shovel Knight. They both did great work in Seventh Guest, and it's just an unusual part of my childhood. I wish more studios had the sense to use stage actors. Yeah.
The Shovel Knight, you say?
So Shovel Knight. Digging in at number 75 is Shovel Knight. I don't have a lot to say about Shovel Knight because it's just kind of good. It's the medieval take on Mega Man that became an indie game staple. I think my favorite thing about this game is that it replicates the nostalgia and enjoyment of playing an old NES Mega Man game without the frustration of actually playing an NES Mega Man game. A true example of a game that learned from its predecessors. I'm looking forward to more Shovel Knight in the future.
It's also 4 games in one.
It's also 4 games in one, and my god, if you don't like one of them, you'll probably like one of the others. That's funny. It's like Sai is on the King of Cards camp, which is like, yeah, it's pretty good. I didn't get all the way through it, but it was fun while I was playing it.
Yeah, I really like Plague Knight.
Plague Knight might be my favorite. That one's so much fun. Spectre Knight's campaign was good too. They really they switched up a lot of the bosses in that one. Because I think by the time they got the Spectre Knight, they were like, shit, we need to change up some things, don't we? We need to make a few more curves in the road.
Yeah, I do enjoy that they turned that one backer that ended up being a problem into a minor villain in Spectre Knight.
Who was that?
The Boomerang Kid.
Really? What was the problem with him?
I don't remember, but I do remember that the Boomerang Kid was like a Kickstarter guest.
Reese, I think.
Yeah. I don't remember the specifics. I'll look it up, actually.
Also, God, Jake, what's his name?
Kaufman?
Jake Kaufman. Jesus Christ, this soundtrack. It's so good. I was really, like, torn on which song to use because it was either the King Knight theme or the minor version of the King Knight theme. Yeah.
Jake Solomon.
Who's Jake Solomon?
That's what chat said.
I don't know who Jake Solomon is. I know Jake Kaufman.
Yeah, Jake Kaufman.
Having a fucking meltdown at number 74 is Darkest Dungeon, the dungeon-crawling nightmare simulator. Heavily inspired by Lovecraft, Dungeon tasked you with sending mercenaries into hell and accumulating a variety of mental disabilities and diseases. Manage them as best you can, but at some point a mercenary will just be too broken to be useful to you, and you'll send them home for good. You upgrade your town over time to better serve and maintain your mercenaries as you explore new areas and take on bigger bosses. The goal is to work your way up to a grueling 4-dungeon finale known, of course, as the Darkest Dungeon. I have not completed the Darkest Dungeon, but I made it through 2 of them without losing anyone, and that is a fucking miracle worth bragging about. This game helped me get through the year I was living in rural Colorado without internet. Thanks, Trauma. That's all I got. Thanks, Trauma.
I'm just imagining you doing the Darkest Dungeon pose and you get an abnormality. Just going, Trauma.
Trauma.
Did you ever try the sequel to this one?
I haven't, but I heard it's good. It's different,
Yeah,
but I hear it's very good.
Yeah, it's very different from what I hear.
I should give it a shot. I bet I'd like it. But just really good art style. I got into the combat system over time. At first, I thought it was too much info, but then you start looking at which numbers matter more than others, and you get into it over time. I don't know if I would have gotten into it as well if I weren't trapped in internet hell, by which I mean not having internet, because in rural Colorado I did not have internet until 11:30 at night, when the satellite turned on or something. I don't fucking know.
Really, the Darkest Dungeon is not having internet.
It is! Shooting outside of the screen does not help you in number 73, Time Crisis 2. Now, as previously stated, I love my light gun games, but this one might be my favorite. It works by giving you a foot pedal to step on to jump out of cover and shoot enemies. Clear everyone in the area before time runs out to move on. The second game was significant because you could play co-op with a friend and take different vantage points in the same area, and this was cool. It felt less like moving like a first-person rolling. Excuse me. It felt less like a first-person roller coaster view and more like actually moving through a space, clearing an area, and moving forward meticulously. The rest of the series, in my opinion, could not live up to the elegant simplicity and execution of Time Crisis 2. I think this is the best one out of all of them. Later games would give you option selects for weapons, but honestly, I feel like the game was perfect, with just a handgun and something to hide behind. Stepping on the pedal to hide is so unintuitive. No, you step on the pedal to pop out.
Yeah, I've never played a Time Crisis.
Oh, they're good. You might see one at MacFest if you're lucky. Like, I saw it one year, but it's not every year. It's kind of hard to find still. I don't see Time Crisis 2 anymore, man. I see 3. I see 4. I hate 3 and 4. 3's okay. 3's fine. It's just that they give you other weapons and expect you to use them, so enemies have a lot of health. Most of the enemies in Time Crisis 2 are one shot, one kill, as it should be.
Oh, and both players shoot at different angles?
Yeah, so like you can see the guy in the GIF on the left. He's playing both. He's playing both sides somehow, which is really disorienting and hard to do. But they take different vantage points, so you've got 2 different angles on the scene. So you work together to clear them out.
That's cool.
Yeah, very fun. It's about time for number 72, which is Professor Layton and the Unwound Future. A fun series with over 6 installments, Layton often hinges on a ridiculous, near-impossible plot twist in each game. This one might be my favorite out of all of them, and it might be the most insane out of any Layton game, making it my favorite. That's how I wrote that. Having received a letter that is supposedly from Luke Triton in the future, Layton and Luke investigate a strange device that can enable time travel. As with all Layton games, there are over 100 puzzles to train your brain, which can be pretty difficult at times. The art style is very charming, the cutscenes look legitimately great, even on the DS. Short and to the point, Unwound Future is probably the best Layton game there is, and you get to find out what could possibly make Herschel cry like this. A very good gut punch of a story.
Yeah, knowing that these games have like a plot twist in them makes me really want to play them. I don't know why I haven't. I love Ace Attorney. It's one of my favorite series ever.
You have to understand the gravity that each of the game's plot twists hold. They're all so dumb.
I do enjoy me a dumb plot twist.
And I think Unwound Future might be the dumbest, but also most fun, and maybe the one that makes the most sense. Somehow.
Yeah. Is Unwound Future the one everyone likes? Is that Diabolical Box?
I like Diabolical Box too, don't get me wrong, but I think that twist is really dumb. It's incredibly dumb. I mean, so is Unwound Future. They're both. I'm splitting hairs at this point, you know. I would play both of them. I think Diabolical Box is fun, but not as good of a game as Unwound Future. I had to put the GIF where he's fucking crying. That gets me every goddamn time. It's so goddamn sad. Keeping in line with the rule of thirds, we have number 71, which is Fatal Frame: Crimson Butterfly. A neat survival horror series that uses Japanese folklore to tell spooky ghost stories. Crimson Butterfly follows twin sisters Miyu and Mayu, say that 10 times fast, who were lost in the woods near an abandoned village. After being separated, you take control of one of them and try to leave the village with your twin. The combat is real neat, involving a camera that can capture ghosts using extraseasmal film. I don't know how you make that shit, maybe you develop it with holy water or something, but it works, I'm not going to question it. Fighting ghosts involves looking at them through the viewfinder, keeping them in the center of the frame to charge up the camera, and taking the shot when the target is as close to you as possible for maximum damage. Other mechanics involve using special techniques to affect ghost behaviors, chaining hits together, and identifying each spirit's weak point, which the game calls Fatal Frames. The art and atmosphere is really on point. It's a great improvement over the original. I think Crimson Butterfly might be my favorite in the series.
Any particular reason?
There's a bit of nostalgia for that. I think I played this with a friend in high school. That was really fun. And she was like really not good with scary games, but she likes them. So it was one of those things. So it's like she would have the controller and in like aim, and then the filament would turn orange, which means there's an enemy in the room, and the soundtrack would start up, and she would just throw the controller at me. I'd be like, you know what you're doing? Come on. You're every bit as good at the game as I am. I'm just not terrified of it like you are.
Yeah, I mean, I have a friend who can't not handle jump scares like at all. Even if there's like a low key hint of one, it's just like I'm out. I can't do it.
Hell, there's a bunch of non-jump scares in Fatal Frame that's kind of funny. Like you'll be walking near a staircase and a ball will just roll down the stairs past you, and she freaked out. My friend freaked out so much at that. I was like, come on! It was really funny.
Yeah, these playing those with friends are usually good.
It is. It's a good time. Rolling in at number 70 is Chuchel, an adorable comedy game by Czech Republic group Amanita Design. Sorry. In this simple point and click, you play titular character Chuchel, who desires one thing and one thing only: cherries. Chuchel has to solve a variety of weird puzzles to get said cherry and prevent anyone else from eating it. It's a silly, cartoonish game that could be good for kids, but genuinely makes me laugh as an adult. The jokes are pretty timeless, like an episode of Looney Tunes, and the puzzles are just engaging enough to keep you interested. I love Chuchel's weird minimalist world and the bizarre creatures that live there. It's a unique experience.
One thing.
I love Amanita Design. They're so funny. This game made me laugh so hard. I was not expecting it.
Yeah, 2018. Damn.
This game is full of little fellas that are just so funny and cute.
How'd you find it?
Yeah. I just like Amanita Design games in general. One of my favorite designers.
Oh, they're the people who did Machinarium and Samarost.
Yep.
Okay.
Machinarium, Samarost, Botanicula, Creeks, Pilgrims. They've done a lot of games, and they're working on Phonopolis right now. Happy Game, yeah. Happy Game, you know what? Happy Game was the only one I wasn't crazy about. And it was okay, but it was just like, let's do an edgy children's horror game. That was, they completed the assignment, but I just didn't care for it. There was one part of Happy Game that really made me uncomfortable. Jesus Christ. I won't even get into it. It was just like, oh god. It involved needles.
Yeah.
It was rough. Re-goddamn loading at number 69, it's Left 4 Dead 2. Mostly unchanged from the original, the sequel has 4 new survivors to play as, and some new special infected as well. I am really partial to the Versus mode, which puts 2 teams of 4 against each other in a full campaign, taking turns playing the survivors each level. The other team spawns in as the special infected and have to slow down or stop the survivors to keep them from scoring points. The more progress they make, the more points they get. It's kind of like baseball. Teamwork is so essential in Versus mode, especially setting up ambushes as special infected. You gotta know the maps and know where the problem spots are, and know how to exploit weaknesses on the enemy team. I played a lot of this in college and wish people still played it. I'd love to get 7 other people together for a Versus run.
I'm trying to remember the name of Ellis's friend who he keeps talking about.
I know, I was just thinking about that, yeah.
God, why am I blanking on his name? He keeps bringing
Ellis?
him up.
Wait, what's his name?
Isn't it Ellis's friend?
His name is Ellis, yeah. I was like, my buddy something? I have never played Vermintide, no.
Vermintide's great.
Is it similar to this game?
Yeah, Vermintide is basically like Left 4 Dead 2, but with like melee weapons.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and instead of zombies, you're killing giant rats.
Right, Vermintide or Darktide, that's Warhammer?
Yeah, that's Warhammer. I played a little of Darktide. I wasn't too big on it, but Vermintide 1 and 2 are... Well, 2 specifically was very fun.
Mm-hmm. I have no particular affinity for Warhammer, but that doesn't mean you couldn't give me a game with a gameplay loop I like that I would enjoy. I like the cast of Left 4 Dead 2. They're good. You know, they're a little bit more sassy in the second game, I think. In the first game, they're like, oh man, we sure are in a zombie apocalypse, aren't we? You know?
Yeah, I hear, like, and apparently the Rochelle had more of a personality, but they kind of just removed it because...
Why?
That people didn't like it. So they just made her pretty blank, personality-wise.
I got a funny story from playing this game, actually. I was playing with Psychedelic Eyeball and some other people. I can't remember who, but Psych is the one I ended up killing. So, we were trying to do Dead Center, and this was not versus. This was just trying to do hard mode or expert mode. Just finish the Dead Center campaign, which is the mall, which means you have to put all of the gasoline into the car while waves of zombies attack you. It's really hard. But we're on like attempt 20 or something. And we were so tired. And we're in the elevator going down. And as soon as the elevator opens, that's when it starts. That's when you gotta fucking run. And we're just sitting there in the elevator, all silent. And then Psych starts spamming the Rochelle laugh noise. Ha 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 ha. And about like the third or fourth time, I just unloaded into him with the shotgun in his face and killed him. Just 100% health dead. And he just started laughing. It's just like, stop that. No, we're done here.
Well, that's definitely a Keith story.
Yeah. Keith, Keith. My buddy Keith. We ran on this roller coaster once. I love all his goddamn stories. They're so funny. He wants to impress everybody all the time. I wish there were more of this. You could make a third game.
Yeah, you could. Valve.
Valve? I know. Like, you know, this isn't going to be the only time we hear about Valve on this list, all right? Number 68 enjoys hurting people in Hotline Miami. A surreal and brutal action game. The main character has a bit of an issue. He's been receiving weird phone calls encouraging him to go to places in the city where a shady crime syndicate does their thing. Known really only as Jacket, the main character responds to each phone call by showing up to each job wearing a mask, ready to kill everybody inside. What follows is a trail of blood and brutality you rarely see rendered in such detailed pixel art with a wild soundtrack to match. The action is extremely fast, and it only takes a fraction of a second for the enemy to one-hit kill you. Since you respawn nearly instantly, the game becomes a fast-paced, twitchy slaughter simulator where every move counts. Planning and repetition are key as you slowly dial in the best way to take out a floor full of armed guys. The result is a very stylish and satisfying game that I think about often. And bonus, it got me into Son of Ra, one of the artists on the soundtrack.
So, there's a lot of good tracks on this in the soundtrack, but my favorite is the one that plays when you finish a level, because it starts with like a tape scratch and then suddenly just this droning like this droning track where it's just making you think about like the carnage you've left behind.
It took me all of my willpower to not put Deep Cover as the song for this. I think everyone's heard Deep Cover before, right?
Yeah.
I fucking love Deep Cover, but it's not my favorite Son of Ra song. Son of Ra is amazing if you like experimental psychedelic music. It's just amazing. I had to put Hydrogen.
Yeah, Hotline Miami, the first one is very good. The second one is... Well, it's the second one.
Some people like the second one better.
Yeah. I know, that's some ideas in that I'm like, did we really need to see this?
I didn't make it through the second one. I've tried several times. I always like kind of lose interest at some point.
You like to for what it's worth? I mean, it's not a bad game. I just think
it's not.
Just some creative decisions that I'm just not a fan of.
I mean, I would put chat on stream, but I don't have a place to put it that wouldn't be in the way. That's my problem. I don't want to put something over my thing that I took too much time to make. I apologize.
This is art.
Are you unable to read the chat? I like the story in the first game. I mean, the story in the first game is something I was able to discern. It's muddled by drugs and alcohol, but you get to see that effect.
Yeah, it's a lot of it is nonverbal, thankfully.
Yes, it's very nonverbal. It's very like, oh, you notice very tiny little details, and those are your plot points. Next up. Swapping in at number 67 is Tetris Attack, also known as Panel de Pon, for the SNES. Probably my favorite puzzle game of all time, Tetris Attack has the simple-to-learn, impossible-to-master quality. Your only input is a cursor you slide around the field. When you highlight a block, it will get shifted to the side. If you highlight 2 blocks, they will swap positions. Using these moves, you are challenged with clearing blocks in lines of 3 or more at a time, horizontal or vertical. Set up chains to fall into place, and you can send big garbage blocks to your opponent. There is a pretty high skill ceiling, and the style of game is also seen in Pokemon Puzzle League, which is arguably a better game to play the computer in. Either way, this is one I have nostalgia for. Let's fight Cape sometime, I suck at it.
Yeah, Pokemon Puzzle League is the version of this I played.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the one that I played, so it's the one I've got nostalgia for. I like the music better in this one, but you know. Thanks, Intelligent Systems.
I wish I was smart enough to play it.
Yeah, I can set up like 2 to 3 chains if I'm good, if I'm feeling it.
Yeah, I would have to put like 100% of my brain power. I'm not good at this game.
It's tough. It's tougher than Wario's Woods, that's for sure. Because Wario's Woods, you
Yeah.
don't really have to set up chains. But yeah, this game is very dependent on setting up chains. You need to do that. Erased from existence is number 66, Resonance. A point-and-click mystery thriller where 4 strangers try to secure a dangerous new antimatter technology from falling into the wrong hands. A more difficult point-and-click given that you can switch between 4 different characters and manage 4 different inventories, and even take the idea of something and use it as a conversation piece in any context, makes for a lot of ways to approach a situation. I really enjoyed the story and cast of this game, very good voice acting all around, which Wadjet Eye is often good with, and a few different endings. I think when it came out, it rekindled my interest in point and clicks, and other Wadjet Eye games helped that along. One of the earlier Wadjet Eye games came out around the time I got out of college.
Yeah, no, if it brought you back to point and click, that's quite a high bar.
Yeah,
it's like.
It was a hard game though. I definitely needed a little bit of a guide for it. But you can always ask your, I think you can ask your partners for things, but you only get so much information from it. Some of those puzzles were real horseshit, yes.
Like how shit are we talking?
There's a point where you need to break into the local precinct police database, and one of your characters is a cop, so that's your in. But you need to set up a bunch of things to do it, and you need to like uncalibrate the machine that pulls evidence from the it's like a big operation to do it. But once you do it, you feel like a genius.
And that's what you want from point and click.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we're happy to give it a shot.
Scanning. It's number 65, Metroid Prime. The first 3D Metroid on the GameCube, this felt like an entirely new experience I hadn't had in the game before. The scan visor was the big change, giving you the ability to get more info about most everything in the game, and the old/new power-ups were just very fun to use. It's especially satisfying to just roll into a ball at any point and speed away. It looked real nice in the GameCube too. It really felt like a next-generation game, and a new direction for the Metroid series in general. Great soundtrack, great bosses, some old favorites like Ridley Return. It's just a solid game all around.
Yeah, it's still probably one of the more unique FPS, like Arcade Park is saying.
Yeah, still looks good.
Mm-hmm. And there's a reason people have been clamoring for the fourth one that is not out when.
I'm shocked that we got that. I'm really shocked that happened, and I'm interested. Because, like, I like 2 and 3. They were fun. I don't remember them as well as Metroid Prime 1, but it was still enjoyable.
Unfortunately, my memory of 3 is colored by Slow Beef doing the Ridley voice, putting the opening up package.
Yeah. Yeah, he's doing the fucking thing. I can see it in my head right now. Like, what is he doing right now? Come on, man. You're my antagonist. You're my rival. You can't be doing this. You can't look so silly. You're making me look bad.
Hey, Sammy.
Hey, Sammy. Yeah. Warning! Collision imminent at number 64. Blast Core for the N64. A weirdly dark game with an upbeat tone. Blast Core is a high-tech demolitions company tasked with clearing the path of the runaway autopiloted nuclear missile carrier. If it collides with anything or falls into a hole, the missiles go off and obliterate everything for miles around. But don't worry about that. You can try again. Time to get moving. This is a classic Rare game that is so much fun to play. It's sometimes a puzzle game, sometimes a racer, sometimes an action game. I think it becomes Pac-Man at some point. I don't know. It's a weird experience that I would recommend.
Did not know about the plot description.
Yes, the plot is that a nuclear missile carrier, that it started leaking and the driver had to bail with it on autopilot. So,
Nice.
I don't know why you had to have it rolling while that happened, but okay.
Double One says it's such a weird soup of different gameplay.
Yes.
Oh, looks like it, yeah.
Yeah, it's super weird and interesting. There's collection, there's action parts, there's racing parts. There is definitely a couple of Pac-Man levels. There's, like, efficiency and trying to get the goals on every level. Paul Mountain directed this game? That's awesome. Paul Mountain. What a fucking good name that is. Paul Mountain.
Yeah, I mean, Rare in the N64 era was probably them at their, like, high point.
Rare was so good in the N64 era. They made so many fun games. Blast Corps was one of my favorites. They made so many different games, too. Jet Force Gemini, Star Fox. But that was them, too, right?
Jet Force Gemini? Yeah.
They did Jet Force Gemini, I know that. They did Banjo-Kazooie, they did Diddy Kong Racing.
Yeah, and Perfect Dark, yeah.
Perfect Dark and GoldenEye, yeah. I mean, God, those two alone. What a good series, like, what a good set of games. Delta 6 and 3 on suit. It's Balatro at number 63. What can I fucking say about Balatro that I haven't said already? It's insanely addictive. It's poker for perverts who like when numbers get bigger. I've put over 100 hours into this game this year, which is a lot for me, and I'm probably not done yet. Thanks, Balatro.
You gotta love those jokers.
I like how my slide for Balatro sounds so angry.
Yeah.
Thanks for nothing, you fucking asshole.
Why did you make this game, you fucking loser?
Local Thunk, you are ruining my life. If you put it on iOS, I will lose my job. Please put it on iOS.
I love this game and that
The
upsets
one
me.
Balatro song. Just inject Balatro into my veins, please. Oh. Balatro.
Balatro.
It's such a good game. It's like my favorite game this year, I'd say, maybe. I mean, there's a few other contenders, but that's up there.
Did it only come out this year?
It came out early this year. It came out like in January.
God.
Yeah. Like maybe the demo was around before then, but I don't know.
Yep, like it ruined several people's lives.
Yeah.
It became Northern Lion's new Binding of Isaac.
Good for him. Marching into number 62 is the Banner Saga trilogy by Stoic. One of my favorite strategy RPGs ever, this game follows a pair of caravans as they both run from the world falling apart. You're tasked with keeping as many people in your caravan alive, as well as keeping them fed, and sometimes you can't do both. Hard decisions are around every corner. Not everyone will survive. The world building is real great. It's very much based off of Norse mythology, but manages to be a distinct entity here. The art is inspired by Eyvind Earle, an American painter, and the animations are painstakingly hand-drawn. This game is great to look at and harrowing to play. Still need to beat the third one. Yeah, gotta beat it. Gotta finish
It's also
it.
given out for free sometimes.
Sometimes you can get it for free, yeah.
Yeah.
Really? I think the second one's my favorite. The first or the second might be it's so hard to choose, because they're all very good. They're all different games, a little bit. It's such a harrowing trilogy, and it can be played so many different ways. And there's so many different ways it can end. And God, every single character is at risk to fucking die. Even the ones on the cover there. Difficulty can get super rude. And yeah, the games are all interconnected, so your decisions in one game will affect you in other games. Drunken Axeman Mage. Ollie, he cast Axe. Ollie is the fucking shit. Love Ollie. I love that he realizes when he's sober, he realizes that he's a magician. That he's a mage.
Okay.
He realizes he's a mage. He's like, I can see ribbons through the air. They tell me where to throw my axe. And he's like, wait, I'm one of I'm one of you? What? I thought I was just drunk.
Yeah. Definitely worth to play through.
Sliding into number 61 is Kickle Cubicle, an action puzzle game by Irem. As Kickle, you have to solve a variety of puzzles while avoiding enemies, collecting items to get to the next level. Simple setup. Kickle has a good difficulty curve that starts easy and ends really difficult, including a post-game set of levels that will fucking murder you. Also, now you will have the level music stuck in your head. You're welcome. That's all I got.
Is this a Sokoban game?
Yeah, it's a block pusher. Well, okay, so you freeze enemies, and then you push them, and when they hit water, it turns into land. That's the main mechanic. So using that, you have to grab all the red bags on each level.
Yeah, okay, yeah, definitely. Yep, that's definitely a Sokoban.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a puzzle action game.
What? Are the boss fights still? What is this middle image?
Yeah, there are boss fights. They're pretty simple. Like, they throw things at you, they fragment it to pieces, you push them back at the enemy and hurt them. It's simple, but they're bosses, yeah.
Okay. Who is the creator?
Irem.
Irem.
Oh. Who is the creator of Mega Man? Dr. Mario! Yeah. The arcade fit answer. Despite everything, it's still number 60. It's Undertale. What the fuck you can say about this game? Wonderful, unique game that completely flipped not just indie games, but a lot of internet culture on its head. Toby Fox is some kind of cultural visionary, and I hope he keeps making games because they're fun. That's it.
Yeah, this is another one I'm surprised it's lower on the list than I expected.
I mean, it's a very formative game for, like, a particular kind of person, but I feel like this is the kind of game I had been waiting for, and that it delivered, and then I was like, alright, what else you got? Cool, yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, the Deltarune does feel like the game, just like the setup for that one it seems like it's playing off of Undertale and some of its ideas that I'm really interested in that one.
Very excited to see where Deltarune goes.
Yeah, in a way that it wasn't with Undertale.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Undertale, yeah, one of the best games ever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people are calling it one of the best games ever. And they're not really too wrong. I think it's a real achievement in game design and subverting expectations of people who have done nothing but play video games for the last 20 years, like me. Slicing in at 59 and drinking the delicious juices inside, it's Metal Gear Rising: Revengeance. The endlessly quotable, wonderfully stupid spin-off of the Metal Gear Solid series, Revengeance takes Raiden's sword shenanigans to an entirely different level, giving you all sorts of cool control over how you can swing your sword. The idea is to wear an enemy down until you can do a Zandatsu, or death blow, whereupon you cut the enemy open and eat their delicious juices to recover. It feels great every time you do it. Every part of this game is high octane and fun. The boss fights are ridiculously well done. Everyone's got a favorite, and the dynamic music stands out as an achievement in audio design in games. We may not ever get another one of these, but hell if they didn't make one of the best action games of all time here. Turn off my pain inhibitors. Thank you for that follow.
You can't make an omelet without breaking a few eggs, Jack.
Can't. You need Sundown McMoon. Thank you for that follow. Like, oh shit, I need to follow now. Ugh, I fucking love this game so much.
Oh, this is great. This is great.
Used to play college ball, you know? There's just so many good quotes from this game that had become culturally ubiquitous.
Like, even, like, videos on this game sometimes become incredibly quotable.
Yeah. It's
What's
just,
your source, friend Senator? My source is that I made it the fuck up.
yeah, does he even say... He doesn't say that, does he?
He doesn't say that.
He
It was
doesn't
in the
say that. That's
Macro
just a
video.
meme, yeah.
Yeah. The entire Senator speech, yeah.
The whole senator speech, how prescient it is to American politics, and how just applicable it is to the average American mindset is way too fucking close to hit home.
And Kojima didn't even write it.
Kojima didn't even write it. Wonderful game. I can't wait to play it again.
Yeah.
Whipping number 58 is Castlevania Portrait of Ruin. I broke my own rule here and I took 2 DS Castlevanias because I like them so much. The second of the DS-Vanias, this one gives you a brother and sister to play as, one physical focused and one magic focused. I like this dichotomy a lot. The game encourages you to switch between characters to try different damage types and see who's weak to what. Not much to say about this one that doesn't apply to Order of Ecclesia as well. Good sprite art, good sound design, some decent voice acting. Overall, a very fun game.
Castlevania is a series that, to me, lives purely off of its aesthetic. It's just impossible not to, like, vibe with it.
Yeah.
How it is.
Yeah, it's very... Well, it does a lot of different aesthetics because it takes place in so many different time periods. I love that gif where you're just getting hit for 1 damage. Whack.
Yeah, so much replayability with extra characters and difficulty.
Charlotte, Jonathan, Charlotte, Jonathan, Charlotte, Jonathan. Four minutes from now is number 57, Ghost Trick, or as I like to call it, the best game Shu Takumi has ever written. Ghost Trick follows Sissel, a man who realizes he is dead and does not remember how he got that way. As he tries to solve the mystery of how he died, he comes to understand that he can manipulate objects as a ghost and travel back in time to 4 minutes before someone's death. This allows Sissel to save people who have recently died. Originally on the DS, purported to more modern systems today, you too can experience the magic that is Ghost Trick. Marvel at the cel-shaded characters and smooth animations. Solve the mystery of Sissel's death before dawn. I want more people to play this game so Takumi thinks about expanding on the world he built.
Please buy the game.
Please buy this game.
I do love that one of your images is just Missile the dog.
Yeah, I found because I would go to Google, you know, and type in the name of the game, and then I would get all the character art, and I'd be like, well, I have to put Missile in here. And then I would type in game name plus GIF and see what I could find. God, what a good story! Amazing story.
Yeah, hopefully the remaster coming out and it's selling well.
Yeah, the remaster has been out for a while. I hope a lot of people bought it. I hope enough people bought it so that Shu Takumi is like, this really is my magnum opus that I need to continue on. Or, I don't even care, man. Just do another game with the same art style. I don't care. No, I'm not picky.
Yeah, you clearly thought enough that you brought it off the DS. And
Yeah.
It worked. So.
What an amazing art style that looks timeless when you scale it up. Ringing out at number 56 is Soul Calibur 2 for the arcade, Xbox, PS2, and GameCube. This was a fighting game that I was able to get into and learn a few combos with. I got pretty good with Talim after a while and played a lot with my roommates in college. Every time I see a Soul Cal 2 machine and try to play it, it's mob with people at MagFest, so I never get to relive the magic. If you had the GC version like me, you had Link as a bonus character, who had some real broke-ass moves.
Tale of Swords and Souls.
Eternally retold, yeah. Just a fun series. Like, I wish I had gotten more into 6. I wish other people had gotten into 6. You know, so that I could actually play it. Taki is a really technical character. I could never play her.
I played this game while I was visiting my cousin in like New Zealand, and he had just bought this game. He's like, "Hey, you want to play this?" And we play. And he bought the PS2 version, so we had Heihachi.
You had Heihachi, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this game rules.
This game's great, man. What a good fighter.
Yeah, it's a shame that we probably won't get a new one anytime soon, but you know,
we probably won't get another one. Who is this? Bandai Namco? Bandai Namco.
Yeah, they're a little known publisher. It's not super well known.
Right. Go tell Aunt Rhody that everybody's number 55, Resident Evil 7. When the series stagnated for a bit, Resident Evil 4 was the big refresher. Such was Resident Evil 7 for me, which got me back into the franchise, after I'd kind of lost interest in RE5 and 6. A new kind of story, in a new kind of environment. 7 does a lot to surprise and terrify the player. The Bakers are really fun characters, and Jack in particular is a high point.
Welcome to the family, son.
Welcome to the fucking family.
I am surprised it was over 4.
I like 7 more than 4. I think it does more unique stuff that I'm interested in. I think it's more ambitious.
Okay.
I think they went for, let's make a really cool gameplay loop. Let's make the gunplay really good so every moment to moment feels really good. I think Resident Evil 7 was more thematically interesting to me. Whereas Resident Evil is like a cool action movie where you're constantly doing cool shit.
Yeah, it was really brave of them to reset like what was like probably one of their biggest franchise.
Yeah.
And be like, let's bring it back. Let's go back down to our horror roots. Let's
also go to the American South.
Let's go to the American South. Let's shorten our cast of enemies down to like 3 and just make them all.
And somehow make it work. Like, I am so shocked that worked as well as it did.
Yeah. The only gripe I have about Resident Evil 7 is that the boat section is too long and really boring.
I did not mind the boat section. I kind of thought it was creepy, but I did get a little lost.
Yeah, but that's like the very end of the game.
It is. So. It's the very end. It's like it's the final exam for all that you learned so far in RE7. But yeah, this game surprised me a lot.
Oh yeah, they have like something new to throw at you pretty frequently. Like you suddenly go into a Saw movie. Yeah,
you're suddenly in Saw, and it's just like, oh my god, what am I doing? The DLC was fun too. My god, the fucking 21 DLC was amazing.
Yeah, and you get what was it, Joe Baker?
Joe Baker. Joe Baker is the uncle. Yeah.
Yeah, and his wrestling moves.
Yeah, and you just punch Uncle the whole way through the American South, the Bayou.
You give him a power gauntlet. Oh, 7 is great, actually.
Yeah, 7's pretty good. Commandeering number 54 is Advance Wars Reboot Camp for the Switch. I've always liked Advance Wars, so I was real excited for this remake of 1 and 2, and it pretty much delivered. The games are as good as they ever were. There's mostly aesthetic differences and upgrades. The new art's nice, the soundtrack is excellent, and you can play multiplayer over the internet if you can manage to hold an internet connection. A good day for grid-based tactics fans. Yeah, poor timing the series, yeah. God. The cute, cuddly war game the same time, Russia invades the Ukraine or something.
I am surprised it's a reboot camp.
I was thinking about it, and I think this is the most complete experience, the most fun you can have with Advance Wars for the price. You can just, you want to just download 1 or 2, you can do that for the GBA,
Right.
Nothing's stopping you for that, and I would recommend that if you don't want to spend any money. But I think if you want a polished thing that looks like it's been remade, then try Reboot Camp. It's worth it, in my opinion. The first game came out 3 days before 9/11. That is correct. Better than after.
Yeah.
If one could say it's the ideal time to get out.
It was successful.
It was successful. Number 53 wants you to know that he is not a moron. It's Portal 2, the best thing that happened to me in all of 2011. Dropping in the middle of preparing for senior final exams in college, Portal 2 was a bright spot in those fucking awful days. Starting pretty much from where you left off at the end of Portal 1, you find out you've been in stasis for an indeterminate amount of time. You get woken up by a personality core named Wheatley, who tries to guide you around the facility. Unfortunately, Wheatley may be the dumbest robot in history. Amazing character, can't get enough of him. He becomes the idiot foil to GLaDOS' cold, calculating murder streak. Without getting too much into plot spoilers, I love where this story goes. The mid-game twist is one of my favorite scenes in a game, and it really gives you insight into how GLaDOS and Aperture Science work as a whole. The mechanics start similar to the first, but a lot of new things get added one at a time, allowing you to understand each concept before complicating it further. The puzzles can get pretty challenging as the concepts overlap near the end. There are so many memorable quotes and moments that will stay in my head forever, like Wheatley trying to read philosophy to impress you. It feels like this was one of Valve's last big titles, if I'm not wrong, which is a fucking shame. I know people would want to see more of their interconnected Half-Life Portal universe, but we've been asking for it for like 15 years, but alas.
Unless you played, I think, the Steam Deck, which had like a very minor Portal universe-esque game.
Yeah. Yeah, this sentence is false. True. Yeah, no, I got it, yeah.
God, the lemon speech.
The lemon speech, there's just so many fucking good moments from...
Portal 2. Oh god, the part where he kills you is so...
Hello, this is the part where I kill you.
Yeah, hello.
Chivo unlocked.
It's so good.
The Chivo unlocking at that point was what got me, because I was like, yeah, they were doing the repetition thing, and then they repeat it one more time than you expect. It's just very funny. It's one of the funniest games I've ever played, and it's also one of the most unique puzzle games I've ever played.
A very underappreciated line, but I always liked. I think the robots learned to use garrots.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're not making any noise. You must be dead.
Portal 2 is great.
Exploding at number 52 is Gunstar Heroes for the Genesis. Now there are a lot of good run and gun games, but you got your Contras and your Metal Slugs. And Gunstar Heroes is just where it's at for me. The weapon system is the big draw here. You can have one of 4 base weapons: Lightning, Fire, Chaser, and Power. And then you can have a second weapon base to combine it with, making a whole new weapon. 4 times 4 means there are 16 different weapon combinations you can mess around with. Also, you don't lose your weapon when you get hit because you don't die, because this game has a numerical health bar instead of one-hit kills. Wow! Amazing! What an idea! I'm not bitter. I like a game where you're allowed to take a hit once in a while. I'm not perfect enough to really excel at Contra. Also kind of unique for this genre is you choose the order of the first 4 stages, which leads to a few more linear endgame ones. Of course, it's a 2-player co-op game, which makes it even better, because you can throw enemies, and even your partner at other targets to damage them. Really fun visual design, and a booming Genesis soundtrack make this a must-play.
Treasure just can't stop with the really unique platformers.
They can't lose, man. They're just good at it, man. They just do it right every time. They make something interesting and fun every time. And there's Melon Bread, the super boss of the game. Look at how dangerous he is.
I am just looking at it and going like, oh my god.
Have you seen this guy before? Do you see what he does?
No.
If you walk in the middle, he starts biting you, but it doesn't hurt you. And he's just kind of chewing on you. And then he looks up at you, the player, and drops a bomb on the player's head. It's really funny. We got one more slide for today. What's it gonna be, folks? What do you think it's gonna be? Melon Bread is Treasure's unofficial mascot.
I would lose my mind if it ends up being Lisa.
Number 51, Lisa. Okay, it is.
Siren. Oh, yeah.
That's not the right one.
What?
There we go. Alerting everyone at number 51 is Forbidden Siren for the PS2. One of the toughest survival horror games I've ever played, Siren has you playing the parts of about 12 different characters, all who are trapped in a small Japanese village over the period of 3 days. Each level focuses on a single character with a specific timestamp, and you're giving a mission objective to complete. Once you do it, the level ends. However, this is not a simple run from A to B game design, no. Siren has you solving puzzles and occasionally doing some real weird shit so other characters later in the timeline can take advantage of it. It is a use-a-guide kind of game for sure. You will not find everything you need to beat the game on your own, most likely. Not only are there secrets in each level, there is a second mission objective you need to unlock to completely view the timeline of events, and some of them are real tough to do. I haven't even talked about the gameplay yet because the game's structure is so ambitious. Siren's a third-person horror game with an emphasis on stealth, and while you can grab a weapon or gun sometimes, you can't always rely on it. The enemies are called Shibito, which I think means dead person in Japanese. They're not your standard zombies. They still go about their routines, doing what they did when they were alive, but they attack anyone they see. In order to get around them, you are given the incredibly novel game mechanic of sight jacking. This allows you to look first person through the eyes of an enemy or ally so you can learn their patrol routes and routine, or gather useful information. It's such a cool system and the game is basically built around it. The hardest horror game I have ever beaten, Siren is an amazing experience with a bizarre story to match.
Yeah, and that story is wild.
This game's so cool. The story ends up going some weird places, and I really like how it ends.
Yeah, when you find out how this entire thing started, I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's really good. It's a really good reveal. Doing it requires you to 100% the game, though. And you get like a 15-second scene that explains everything somehow. It's really freaky.
They throw so much in, and most of it works.
It's pretty good, yeah. It looks like the 2 gifts that I grabbed were from the hospital stages, which are terrifying. Those are so hard, those levels. It's just a really interesting game. I hung out on Slowbeef's playthrough of it way back in the day, and then we played Siren 2, which is even weirder at some points. And yeah, sometimes you will play. Sometimes you will, be playing as a character, and one of the other characters you've been playing as has been turned into a Shibito, and it's like, oh shit, they're turned.
Did you ever play Blood Curse?
Blood Curse is okay. I didn't really finish it, but I played some of it. It seemed competent, but it didn't have quite the mystique of the original for me.
Yeah, I mean, I like Blood Curse in the sense that they knowingly then went like, okay, here's our Japanese video game, but let's make an interpretation of a Western version of the same horse.
Yeah, I was confused about that, but I mean, they went for it, and it seemed to have worked for some people. So,
yeah, the entire series is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, the Shibito mutate over time, so as the timeline goes, the Shibito get weirder. And it gets creepy. Well, that's the first 50, folks. That took 2 hours. That was a good amount. That was a good amount of time, and I didn't lose my voice.
Click to exit the presentation.
Click to destroy.
But yeah, no, definitely games I've never seen or heard of.
Yeah.
There.
I need to, before I do the closing out, I'm going to run to the bathroom really quick because I got to go.
Sure. But yeah, we are closing off for today, but thank you everyone who donated to today. Obviously, there'll be more tomorrow. I believe that we're going to be moving into Act 3 of Lisa. And then I believe Dog, Minimat, Emily, and Ryudo will be playing... God, what is it called? Champions of... God damn it. Okay, let me find the... let me find the title so that I don't forget. Chronicles of Mystara. That's it. But yeah, and obviously we also made it past the 3K mark. Thank you, everyone. And let's hopefully maybe we might even reach the 5K goal. Who knows? But once again, we will see you tomorrow.
All right. Oh, good. I left you all with the creepy siren music. Very good.
Was I doing the whole thing to the creepy siren music? That's
yeah.
funny.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out today. I think that's going to do it for today. That feels like a good place to end off. I still got a lot of work to do on the remaining, let's see, what am I up to? 36 right now? I'll try to get the next 25 ready for tomorrow.
Yeah, you can do that like after Chronicles of Mystara.
Or before, if I end up getting Lisa in time. We'll see. Tomorrow's schedule, we're going to finish up Lisa, and then at around 5 o'clock, we're going to do Chronicles of Mystara with Emily, Aster, Ryudo, and Minimat. Nice co-op beat-em-up game that I used to play in the arcade, and I was kind of fascinated by, because it had, like, decisions and equipment and consumables and stuff, and I thought that was cool. I didn't know what D&D was back then.
I'll be interested to look at it, because I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Let's find someone to host over to. Gonna host over to Ty. We'll see you tomorrow for the final day of the marathon, or will it be the final day of the marathon? Who knows? I think what might end up happening is that I'm going to like do the end of the top 25 maybe Sunday.
Yeah, that seems like a fun thing, you know.
Yeah.
Build up.
Yeah, build up some hype for it.
Yeah.
But I will need some more time to do it probably. So we'll see.
Yeah. I was saying that like the higher you go, the gap between each game becomes like razor thin as to why you like it more over the other.
It's true. What the hell? Okay, I just saw a dumb tweet, but I'm not gonna read it. I gotta read over. Have a good night, folks. See you later.
Later.